Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my intention is to have a little discussion about political philosophy, since political philosophy is also one of my favorite topics, and I would like to discuss with you one of the great books in political philosophy, and a very famous book. The name of this book is The Prince by Nicolo Machiavelli, and in popularly in our society, we pronounce him Machiavelli, but in real sense, it is Machiavelli. So I'm carrying this book. The name of this book is Prince. The name of this book is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. It is a very wonderful book, one of the great book in political treatise, The Prince by Machiavelli. So I'm intending today to discuss with you a little bit about this book. So as Machiavelli was an Italian writer, a political philosopher. He born in May 1469, Florence, Italy, and he died in 1527. The Prince, the name of this book is The Prince, published in 1532. So it is a political treatise, and this book is dedicated to Machiavelli had dedicated this book to one of his mentor, the Medici family, Lorenzo de Medici. The Prince is an extended analysis of how to acquire and maintain political power. It includes 26 chapters and an opening dedication to Lorenzo de Medici. The dedication declared Machiavelli's intention to discuss in plain language the conduct of great man and the principles of princely government, as does so in hope of pleasing and enlightening the Medici. So, of Medici family. The book's 26 chapter can be divided into 4 sections. Chapter 1 to 11 discuss the different type of principalities or state. Chapter 12 to 14 discuss the different types of armies and the proper conduct of a prince as a military leader. Chapter 15 to 23 discuss the character and behavior of the prince, and chapter 24 to 26 discuss Italy's desperate political situation in those days. The final chapter is a plea for the Medici family to supply the prince who will lead Italy out of the humiliation. So, ladies and gentlemen, Machiavelli composed this prince as a practical guide for ruling the purpose and for a ruling. This is an satire. This goal is evident from the very beginning. The dedication of the book to Lorenzo de Medici, the ruler of Florence. The Prince is not practically theoretical or abstract. Its prose is simple and its logic straightforward. These traits underscores Machiavelli's desire to provide practical, easily understandable advice. The first 2 chapters describe the book's scope. The Prince is concerned with autocratic regime, not with republican regimes. The first chapter defines the various types of principalities and princes. In doing so, it constructs an outline for the rest of the book. Chapter 3 comprehensively describe how to maintain composite principalities. That is, principalities that are newly created or annexed from another power. And so the prince is not familiar to the people he rules. Chapter 3 also introduces the book's main concern: power, politics, warcraft, popular goodwill in encapsulate form. Chapter 4 and through chapter 4 to chapter 14 constitute the heart of the book. Machiavelli offers practical advice on a variety of matters, including the advantages and disadvantages that attend various routes to power, how to acquire and hold new states, how to deal with internal insurrection, how to make alliances, and how to maintain a strong military implicit in these chapters. Machiavelli views regarding free will, human nature, and ethics, but these ideas do not manifest themselves explicitly as topic of discussion until later. Chapter 15 to chapter 23 focus on the qualities of Prince himself. Broadly speaking, the discussion is guided by Machiavelli underlying view that lofty ideals translate into bad government. This premise is especially true with respect to personal virtue, is often detrimental to the state. Similar, certain vices may be frowned upon, but various actions are sometimes indispensable to the good of state. Machiavelli combines this line of reasoning with another. The theme that obtaining the goodwill of populace is the best way to maintain power. Thus, appearance of virtue may be more important than true virtue, which may be seen as liability. The final section of book Prince links with the book of specific historical context, Italy's disunity. Machiavelli sets down his account and explanation of the failure of past Italian rulers and conclude with an impassionate plea to the future rulers of the nation. Machiavelli asserts the belief that only Lorenzo de' Medici, to whom the book is dedicated, can reclose Italy's honor, restore Italy's honor and pride. So, ladies and gentlemen, first, let me tell you about the key facts of this. The title of the book is, as I told you before, The Prince, the name. The author is Nicolo Machiavelli. Type of it's a political treatise, letter, manual. Firstly, it is written in Italian language. Time is place written in 1513, finished in 1514, Florence, Italy. And date of publication is 1532. Themes of this book is statesmanship, warcraft, goodwill and hatred, free will, virtue, human nature. Political context. The Prince was written during a time of political turbulence as a practical guide to help Lorenzo de' Medici stay in power. Lorenzo did not agree with many of the Machiavelli's suggestions. The book appeared on the Pope's Index of Prohibited Book. It is prohibited by Pope of that time. So, this is a very wonderful, one of the wonderful book of the political philosophy. And the types of Machiavelli tell us how to acquire power. He advised the prince how to acquire power. Then after acquiring power, how to maintain the power, how to sustain the power, how to get rid of his opposition, how to make his state and himself a strong state and a strong statesmanship. This is a guide and a manual guide of statesmanship. And in holding the political power, a prince can sometime go to any degree by maintaining his power. So Machiavelli tell us about the types of principalities, what kind of government. He lists 4 types of principality. Number 1, hereditary principality, those principality or rule which are inherited to the ruler, which came from his forefather. The second type of principality is mixed principality, which may be acquired by several methods of one's own power, by the power of others, and by criminal acts or extreme cruelty, or by the will of people, civic principality. The second is mixed principality, territories that are annexed to the ruler's existing territories. And the fourth one is ecclesiastical principalities, namely the papal states belonging to the Catholic Church. The types of armies. Nicolo Machiavelli discussed the types of armies. Advised the prince must always pay close attention to military affairs if he needs to remain in power. Machiavelli lists 4 types of armies. Number 1, army, mercenaries or hired soldiers, which are dangerous and unreliable. Number 2, he says about the auxiliaries, troops that are lean to power by other ruler, also dangerous and unreliable. That is auxiliaries. The third type of military he describes is the native troops, composed of one's own citizenry or of its own troops. Machiavelli tell us about the native troop which belong to the native land, or who fight for their freedom, for their homeland. So these are the subject. The fourth type of military is the mixed troops, a combination of native troops and mercenaries or auxiliaries, still less described than a completely native army. So the character and behavior of prince. In this book, Machiavelli told us how a prince, what kind of character and behavior the prince should adopt. Machiavelli recommends the following character and behavior of prince. It is better to be stingy than generous. Number 1. Number 2, it is better to be cruel than merciful. Number 4, it 3 is how to break promises if keeping them would be against one's interest. Number 4th one is princes must avoid making themselves hated and despised. The goodwill of the people is a better defense than any fortress. Prince should undertake great object to enhance their reputation. Prince should choose wise advisor and avoid flatterers. Italy's political situation and during the days of Machiavelli, the political situation of Italy. So Machiavelli recommends the following. The ruler of Italy have lost their states by ignoring the political and military principles Machiavelli enumerates. Number 2, fortunes control half of the human affair, but free will and contracts the rest, leaving the prince free to act. However, few princes can adopt their action to their time. The final chapter is an exhortation to, as I told you before, to the Medici family. Nicolo is an Italian diplomat. Tell me about himself. He was an Italian diplomat, historian, philosopher, and writer of the Renaissance period. As a young Florentine, invited to the hours of Florence, Italian. He witnessed firsthand how people could be united order, a powerful leader, a vision motivate his writing, acquiring and maintaining political power. So this, ladies and gentlemen, this book is entirely about the statesmanship, and it is a art of a power. In this, Machiavelli suggests that the prince should play a beast, how to play a good play a good like a beast. He suggests that a prince should be as strong as a lion, and he should also be as cunning as fox, because only the lion cannot with his power cannot tell where the snares are, where the traps are. But he should be also like a fox, that he should know where the snares and the traps are. So he should play a perfect beast. He should be more powerful like lion. He should be more cunning like a fox. So Machiavelli these are the principles which he advises the prince, Lorenzo Medici. A prince should not care about being held cruel as long as the cruelty is well used. Machiavelli writes that one cannot call it virtue to kill one's citizen, betray one's friends, to be without faith, without mercy, and without religion. According to Machiavelli, aims to reduce the power of fortune over human affair, because fortune keeps man from ruling and affairs. Because fortune keeps men from ruling on themselves. At first, Machiavelli admits that fortune rules half of man lives, but then in an infamous metaphor, he compares fortune to a woman who lets herself, who won more by the impetuous and the young, who commands her with more audacity than by those who proceed cautiously. A prince who possesses the virtue of masterly can command fortune and manage people to decree never before thought possible. In last chapter, Prince writes a passionate exhortation to seize Italy and to free her from the barbarians. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very beautiful guide. It is one of the best books ever written in political philosophy, The Prince by Nicolo Machiavelli. It is an art of statesmanship. It is an art of power. It is for those rulers who are ambitious and who wants to rule long, and who wants to become a popular among their subjects, and who wants to prolong his rule, and who wants to. And sometimes Machiavelli even advised the prince to exercise cruelty as it is possible, for if to save his ruling, his government or its throne. So this is a very interesting book of arts, an art of statesmanship and of political power. It gains a very famous repetition in history. Thank you very much.